Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of my Mike video program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. We're coming to you from the Mike King Biz Studio, which is the global epicenter of social enterprise business. We showcase RVA and beyond in a different way. So today it is our Better Business, the BBB. I'm BBB accredited businesses. You see my placard in the back right there. We start talking about trust in business. Shout out to my man Barry Moore, who is always making great things happen. So we're talking to members of the BBB. Ma'am, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All righty, so I always say this is a business show, so tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Susan Wilkinson. I'm a certified financial planner, and I own Wilkinson Wealth Management out of Charlottesville, Virginia.
All righty, so I came from a college town here. The college towns are magical. And people always, so we lived at Penn State and they don't call it Happy Valley for no reason. And so people are always talking about college towns are young. And before we came on, everybody in a college town is young at heart, young in age. Yet that is the core of a college town. It's always going to be a young place. Young people believe the world could be a better place. It is also the time to start investing. Ma'am, the floor is yours. Let us know why investing early is a better idea than panicking when you are a 50-year-old person.
Yeah, well, panic does usually set in at around 50. And if you start early, it's the law of compounding. You start in your 20s, 25, then it just becomes a habit. If you've ever read James Clear, Atomic Habits, great things happen in small doses. So little things build up on each other. So, if you wait till you're 55, you might have to dump a ton of money in quickly. If you start when you're 22, 23 years old, you make it a habit to put $500, $600, $700 a month away, on a consistent basis. It becomes a habit. And so then you don't start panicking when you're 50 or 55. Now, I've been doing this for about 27 years, and I found that people a lot of times don't panic just based on age. They based on what they see their parents go through. And so a lot of times people could start to panic in 25 and 30 if they see their parents going through and struggling through financial hardships. And what's going to happen to me, they'll never be able to stop working, so they start earlier. But then, a lot of times it's when you start looking at your own retirement, it's like, okay, now what happens? So it's a change of circumstances somewhere that makes you consider it.
One of my Susan Wilkinson is here with us talking finances and being good stewards of your money. So, ma'am, you had a life prior to the pandemic. We were just going along. We didn't know anything except for, the 80s and 90s, and we were just going along, and then the pandemic hits. Are the tendencies different? Do you see people thinking different now, post-pandemic, than leading up to it?
I don't see people really thinking differently about money. I see people dealing differently with a lot of other things. Like my firm doesn't just do investments. We do like holistic financial planning, everything from college planning, and everything is based on planning. So it's college planning, retirement planning, major purchase planning, things like that. And so what we saw during the pandemic and since the pandemic is that a lot of people are much more astute at what their wills and trusts say, and if they have those set up, and what should happen if they pass away. So it's really not a whole lot has changed on the investment side, but in planning, a lot of things have changed in, I put off putting a will, I need to get that done. I put off putting a trust, I need to get that done. I've put off setting up special needs trusts, need to get that done. So that's a big change we've seen.
Well, that's not something I would have thought about. So the idea of our spending habits didn't change, but sort of our personal legacy, like what happens, because we saw a lot of death and destruction with the pandemic.
Absolutely. Yes. So when you see a lot of death around you, and you experience it, I lost clients, I lost friends, it makes you say, hey, what if that happens to me? And so it made a lot of people rethink, their end of life, wanting to make sure that should something happen to them, their loved ones were taken care of. So,
All righty, ma'am. We had gone through this exercise before we came on the air. A 20-year-old, shows up at your doorstep. What's an advice for what does a 20-year-old sound like, investment wise?
let's see. A 20-year-old, well, we do some stuff with name, image, and likeness, because
Oh, really?
I'm a financial advisor for the NFL Players Association as well. So we see some name, image, and likeness. So somebody showing up at our doorstep who is an athlete, we'll talk to them about, okay, how do you file taxes on that? Well, how are you going to get the income from that? Is it going to be 1099? How do you shelter it? What do you do with it? Don't blow it. That kind of things. We see a lot of Klingons, that call them people clinging on. Somebody's got status. You got people that cling on to them. We try to tell them, watch out for the Klingons.
Okay, so ma'am, I'm old enough, but when you said the Klingons, back in my day, we were calling strap hangers, but the Klingons, I went back to the Star Wars, Star Trek days. They're the same person, a strap hanger and a Klingon.
That's right.
They were there. My dad always said money can't buy you friends, but if you're spending money, you won't be alone.
That is exactly right. But for the average 20-year-old that comes on our doorstep, a lot of times now it's like, how do I pay off my student loans?
Okay.
Especially in a college town. What do I do? I want to go to grad school. What does that look like? So there's lots of things like that. The other thing too is that there's a lot of people that start jobs and they still have student loans. And so since they have student loans and they can't, and that takes up a chunk of money and they want to contribute to their 401k, but they might not be able to. The Secure Act 2.0 actually, that was passed in January, came out and said, if you have student loan payments that you're making, and your employer has a 401k, you're actually eligible for a match from the employer, even if you can't contribute to the 401k. I've talked to several employers because one of my designations is Chartered Retirement Plan Specialist as well. And they say, how in the world are we going to keep up with that? I said, I don't know. It was passed. We're going to have to figure out a way. So it's not in effect now. It's going to take effect, I think, in 2024. But
when you bring that up, how many people kind of look at you with that confused look?
You mean, are you talking employers and HR people?
Yes.
All of them. The other thing is another employer-sponsored plan is a simple IRAs. A lot of smaller companies, 100 employees or less, have simple IRAs. Starting in 2024, or what the law says, after the year 2023. So I'm assuming they mean 2024. Simple IRAs are going to have Roth provisions on them. So you'll be able to have a simple that's a Roth as well. Well, as of right now, nobody even has that paperwork set up. So there's so if you want to have a regular one, and so there's all kinds of things that were passed in the Secure Act 2.0 that actually look really good on paper, and they probably are going to be really good, but they're going to take a while to probably get the paperwork figured out in order to get them in place.
All righty, ma'am. What's a 30-year-old? What's the advice for a 30-year-old? And how are they looking? Feeling pretty good? They're still bulletproof?
They are not bulletproof. The 30-year-old that comes to us is probably, might be married, still early in his career, might have a child, and is looking at potentially purchasing a house, or how do I buy my first house? And it's about, okay, saving towards goals. You can't just save towards one. You have to save towards multiples. If you've got a child, you have to save towards college education. You have to save towards retirement. Plus, you have to save to your house. We have different mortgage lenders that we connect with. We don't do mortgages here, but we have lots of people that we work with in the community. And some of them are very good at working with first-time home buyer to show lots of different programs that are available. in purchasing your first home. So one of our big jobs that we have here is networking. We can't be everything to everybody, so we network with multiple people in the community to try and find the best resource for these people.
All righty. 40-year-olds.
40-year-olds
The
are,
paddock door opened a little bit. I mean, there's some daylight there.
yeah, and sometimes 40-year-olds are, I'm steady in my career, my kids are great, I work, my spouse works, you know what, I need to start dumping in and I can take some risk. And so a lot of times 40-year-olds want to aim for the gold ring all the time. I mean, they want to buy the most aggressive, they can do it on their own. And that's not how you make money. I mean, that might be how you gamble, is by putting all your money on black, but that's not how you make money in the investment world. And so a lot of times 40-year-olds, they might have had something, they might have started something, they haven't been that in tune with it. They might have been following it for a couple of years, but now it's like, okay, I haven't been here, now I need to catch up. I need to be as aggressive as possible. And we have to work hard to try and pull them back a little bit from that, to show them that that might not be the best thing to do.
50-year-old comes in. I guess when a 50-year-old hits the door, that there's one or two looks like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm coming here to be better, or Lord have mercy, Susan, what can you help me with?
Sometimes when 50-year-olds who haven't had investing experience, like if a 50-year-old comes to our door and they've been investing or been hooked up with a financial advisor, they're usually in pretty good shape. But if they haven't been, and they are, let's just say they've been doing it on their own. Let's say they've been doing really well and they've been plowing money into their 401k and they've been socking a little bit away, in different investments. By the time they hit 50, they have probably gone from, okay, instead of having $50,000, now I have $450,000. And whereas making a mistake with $50,000 doesn't feel that bad, making a mistake with $450,000 feels really bad. And so those are the ones that come to us really looking for professional guidance. We have the capability, because we trade on the LPL platform, we trade on the Schwab platform, and we trade on Fidelity platforms. A lot of people, the bulk of their money is in their 401k. So many times we can actually step into their 401k if the 401k allows it, wherever it's held, especially if it's on Fidelity, and help them with it and manage it for them. And a lot of people like that because they're busy working. They're in the prime of their careers. They're, going pedal to the metal at 50. So there's lots of different things. They're also going, it's like, you know what? I have 2 kids. They haven't yet entered college, but I know it's going to be expensive. I've got a mortgage. What happens if something happens to me? And so life insurance when you're 50, or, long-term care insurance, is a big thing that we look at, or they want to look at. Because they're seeing their parents. Their parents might have entered nursing homes. Their parents might need in-home care. One of their parents may have passed away and left, the other parent destitute or well off. So they come in and they either go, I want to be just like my dad, he did everything right and have it all set up, or I don't want to be anything like my dad, he didn't ever take anyone's advice and now my mom is scrambling. So 50, that's what we see a lot.
All right, on the Mike King here, the best business radio program in the area. So we've stretched out. We're going over to Charlottesville out there. Susan Wilkinson is with us today. All righty, ma'am. So I hate to be like the old man, like back in the day, but back in the day, people worked for employers. And being a salesman out on the street, you knew the salespeople, you knew the entrepreneurs. The streets weren't flooded with folks. Other people were in the office doing whatever office people do. Now everybody in the world is an entrepreneur out on the streets doing their own thing. What's the business and climate now, the environment that you see people before now, where they used to have matches for employers and all those things? Now people are out there chasing a dream. A lot don't have health insurance. A lot don't have anything, any type of safety net. Could you touch on that for a moment? Because we seem to be at a different time now as opposed to 25, 30 years ago?
Well, if you're an entrepreneur, I mean, I own my own company. I mean, I started it 15 years ago. And from the day I started it, I had, a retirement plan set up for myself, so a lot of times entrepreneurs are so busy trying to do what they think they know how to do best that they need to outsource the other parts of that. An entrepreneur has multiple different ways where they can set up some type of retirement plan. A very high earning entrepreneur, let's just say real estate agents, over the last couple of years, there's multiple things that they can do to not only set aside money for retirement, but really, really reduce their taxes. My dad worked for the Treasury Department. He used to say, we all need to pay taxes, but we don't need to leave a tip. So especially with small business owners, we look and say, hey, where are you leaving tips on the table? What could you do to help you save money, to help minimize your taxes, and that in turn will help you save for retirement? Because you can grow somebody $1 in the market, but if you sell it, you got capital gains taxes to pay. I can create $1 in interest, but then there's income tax to pay. But if I've saved somebody $1 in taxes, you've saved the whole dollar. And once you send that check to the IRS, it's never coming back to you. So working with smaller businesses to look at their benefits and see, what they could do in order to minimize taxes and set up their retirement is really important. And there's so many options for small businesses.
All righty, ma'am, let's touch on the BBB. It has had a good impact on my business. Talk about the relationship of what that does, especially, I mean, if there's ever a place where there's trust, it's like people and their money. I mean, that's like acquiring new clients. People want to know, who you've done great work for. Touch on the trust factor.
Mm-hmm. Well, I became members of the Better Business Bureau, I think back in 2008, once I started my company. It was either 2008 or 2009, because I don't think, anybody in the financial services sector should be afraid to do that. I think a lot of people are afraid. I don't know why, might be afraid to do that. We're not afraid to do that. It gives clients an opportunity to go in and leave comments and to check you out. We have several people that come in as prospects and they say, hey, yeah, I found your name on the Better Business Bureau, and you have an A+ rating. So I said, yeah, we work hard at that. So that is, it's good networking as well, the different events and things like that. So I enjoy being a member of the Better Business Bureau.
So when you hung your shingle out, I ask entrepreneurs, when did you know you had something? When you're like, yeah, this thing may work.
Oh, I knew it was going to work. I had been,
Whoa, okay.
there's no doubt. You can't start a business with doubt. I've been in the industry 26 years. And so I had worked with other large wirehouses and brokerage houses prior to this. So I started my own firm in 2008, probably not the best year
Okay.
to start a financial services company, because all of the, financial services industries were, the banks were going down, but I felt it was the right time to step out. And I started out with one desk and a phone and me and some of my current clients that came with me. And it was about 22 million that we started out. And now we manage $269 million. We have about 16 households and we have 13 people here.
When you were ready to hire the first person, what was that like? So you're chugging along doing your own thing. When did you stop doing a one woman shop and you had to hire somebody? How long was that and what did it feel like?
Well, the thing is, he's still with me.
Well, something must be right.
It felt like I was stepping out on a limb. It felt like I really couldn't afford it, but I know the things that keep you from growing or keep someone from growing is lack of capacity and space and lack of capacity and staff. And I couldn't really do a ton in the space, but I could do something about the staff. So, I brought Frank on board and we've been a team ever since.
So do you do business as well as personal?
We do, oh yeah, we do business. The bulk of what we do is personal. I
Okay,
mean, most of it, in fact, when we do retirement plans and stuff for businesses, it's really just so that we can get to work with the employees. I
gotcha.
mean,
Okay.
yeah. So we don't do institutional trading or money like that. We do personal, private, personal.
Really quickly, as we get ready to move out of here, give us some ideas on this banking situation right now from a financial planner's perspective.
Don't panic. Um, yeah, don't.
Not not that
Don't.
move.
It looks like there is a series of events that happened at a few banks. I don't think that they haven't called and asked me, but I don't think that, it's gonna, cancer out, into lots of other banks. So I'm not really that worried about it.
Okay,
So yeah.
there you go. Man, we'd like to thank you for joining the program. How can people find you out there and work with your expertise?
Okay, you can go to our website, and that is www.wilkinsonwm, that's Wilkinson Wealth Management, wilkinsonwm.com. You can give us a call at 434-202-2521, or you can reach me at susan.wilkinson, WILKINSON, at lpl.com.
It says something. Oh, really quickly, as I always say, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. So the first person you hired is still with you. Clearly, the culture is right. Talk
I hope
about
so.
how you set the culture in an organization that the first person you hired is still there.
I think one of the things we set in the culture is that it's all about community. I mean, the first person I hired, I mean, he and my kids, and me and my kids and him and his wife, we went out and we did Habitat for Humanity, and then we do lots of promotional things, but we only do it for nonprofits or if there's a nonprofit component to it. And then, the focus is out, it's not in. So when you focus on yourself, you can create a very egotistical culture. If you focus outward, you can create a community-based culture. And that's what we try to do here. I mean, every Friday, a couple of us take 2 hours off every Friday on a rotating schedule, and we deliver Meals on Wheels. So, that's just the kind of culture that we have.
Really quickly, as we get out, I had said I'd lived in State College, Pennsylvania, otherwise known as Happy Valley. What is it about a college town that's so cool to the people? You have to live there. The students don't get it because they're there and they're gone. The
Right.
townies get it.
But older students get it because we have a lot of people moving back to Charlottesville that say, I want to move back there because I went to school there. So there's just a lot of things to do. I mean, there's the university, and there's different programs going on in the university, and there's concerts, and there's an energy out here, which is really cool.
Yes, I tell people that's part of starting this program. I tell people, young people still believe the world could be a better place. I drank the Kool-Aid, and that turned into this program right here because we do business help society be better, and that's what we do. So, man, we'd like to thank you for coming on the program. See, it wasn't all of that. This is easy. What you're doing is making a difference from the business side as well as from the community side. And Barry Moore, folks that I had to talk to you, and that's what I did. Listen.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Now take care.
You too.
Bye.